Pretty good turnout.
Ready to go? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, this is a terrific crowd here at the University Heights Branch Library. We're happy to welcome you all. Welcome to this candidate forum presented by the League of Women Voters of Greater Cleveland, the Cleveland Heights University Heights chapter. Did I do something wrong? No. Cleveland Heights University Heights chapter of the League of Women Voters presents this forum in conjunction with the Heights Libraries and Future Heights. We couldn't do this without our cooperating partners. Thank you to both organizations, especially for the use of this library space and all the technical and housekeeping assistance that entailed, and to Future Heights for the publication of the voter guide. The voter guide will be out in the October 1st Heights Observer, and it will be available online at Heights Observer and at Vote 411, which is an invaluable website maintained by the League of Women Voters for all your voting needs. We're pleased to welcome all of you here tonight, and welcome all those who have joined the live stream and all those who will watch the recording on the League's YouTube channel. My name is Blanche Valancy. Betsy Tracy, Janice Foster, and I planned this forum, along with our chapter chair, Wendy During, and the support of dozens of volunteers, many of whom you see around the room and who can be helpful to you in turning in membership information and especially getting cards to write your questions. We want to thank the three candidates who are giving their time tonight to help us understand the race for University Heights mayor. As you see, we're recording. Recording forums is an expense. If you find it valuable to attend or to view these forums, please consider making a donation. We have a donation box on the table at the entrance. You can also make an online donation at lwvgreatercleveland.org/donate. Click on Donate to a Chapter and then on LWV Cleveland Heights University Heights Educational Fund. In the lobby, you will also find helpful League members with voter registration and vote by mail forms, and as I said, League membership information. The slips on your paper can be used to request that you be added to our mailing list. At this time, I'd like to ask you all to turn off or silence your cell phones. It's picked up very hard on the recordings and is very distracting. Thank you very much. I'm pleased to present our moderator for this evening, Susan Taft. Susan has been interested and engaged in pro-democratic action for several decades. After retiring from Kent State University as an associate professor in 2015, she has devoted more of her time to work with the League of Women Voters of Greater Cleveland. She now lives in Pepper Pike, but for more than 20 years lived and raised her family in Cleveland Heights, which she still considers home. Susan, it's all yours.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am Susan Taft. I'm your moderator for tonight. This is a forum for candidates running for mayor of University Heights. As Blanche mentioned, the forum is presented with support from the League of Women Voters, Future Heights, and the University Heights Library, with particular appreciation for Sarah Phillips, the branch manager here at this library. Before we start the forum, today is September 11th, and I would like to ask all of us to take a minute, and reflect not just about 9/11, but also the completely horrific and unacceptable violence we saw yesterday to one of our political candidates. Democracies do not thrive under conditions of violence. So let's take a moment, please. Okay, we will start the forum now. Thank you all. I want to recognize all of you who turned out tonight for making a concerted effort to become fully informed voters for this local election. Local government has a major and direct impact on our daily lives, and yet, unfortunately, turnout at local elections is quite low. So thank you for showing up here, and please share your impressions, your knowledge, your experience with other people, so hopefully we can continue getting a full room, which we have tonight. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization. We are recognized for our impartiality and our respected role promoting informed and active participation in government and advocating for good government policies. We do not support individual candidates or political parties, but we can, once we have studied them, advocate for or against local issues. That only happens after a group of members get together and really chew over what the issue is, decide whether or not it's appropriate for the league to take a position on it. And an example is gerrymandering. That is an issue that has to do directly with how well democracies function. So the League of Women Voters has historically supported anti-gerrymandering efforts in Ohio. And there's another whole round coming up shortly. Redistricting. The League is valued by voters, candidates, and elected officials because it insists upon and makes possible the fair exchange and expression of views upon which democracy depends. The work that the League does is made possible by member dues and donations and the dedication of League volunteers. You will notice how many League volunteers are here tonight. It's quite a few. And people work hard to make these forums come together and be successful for the candidates who are running for office. If you're not a member, we encourage you to join. And we do have male members, so you're welcome to join. And membership forms, besides being here tonight, can also be found at our website, which is lwvgreatercleveland.org. Blanche mentioned that the literature table was outside, pick up printed voter guides, voter registration, and vote by mail applications, etc. This evening's forum is being live streamed. The audio recording will be available at the website. When you go to the website, you click on the Resources tab. On top to get the drop-down menu, click on LWVGC Forum Videos from the drop-down menu, and it'll bring up all the videos that reside there. And there have been a lot of videos this fall taken. I do want to mention tonight's leaders with the League putting this forum together. We have 3 people who really took the lead with it, and they include Blanche Valancy, Betsy Tracy, and Janice Foster. And I will recognize the other volunteers at the end of the forum tonight. So I do need to review the rules. We have to have rules to run these forums. Turn off your cell phones, and no photography other than the official photographers who are here. For tonight's forum, we have 3 candidates running for mayor of University Heights. We ask candidates and their supporters to refrain from expressions of support, such as clapping, cheering, wearing partisan items, or otherwise expressing personal views within this room. Campaign materials may be placed on the literature table outside. This is a forum to hear from the candidates, ask questions, and address issues of importance to you. We don't want any distraction from annoying verbal outbursts of any kind, even nice, quiet ones. So please keep your feelings to yourself until you leave the forum. And if you still have questions at the end of tonight's forum that didn't get answered, feel free to hang around. I think all of the candidates will be there for you to ask questions of. And the Future Heights Voter Guide is coming out on October 1st and has a lot of information about where the candidates stand on particular issues. At these forums, each candidate must appear in person. They are not allowed to send a stand-in, and they must be available for the time slot that we offer. Each candidate will have a 2-minute opening statement and 2 minutes for a closing statement. And in between, we will have a question and answer period with the audience members, and it will be with people present and also virtually, because we have gotten and are getting questions via the live stream right now. Responses to questions will be limited to 1 minute, which is really tight, but we do have timers who will show you when you have 30 seconds and 15 seconds left. And they will show you minutes when you're doing the opening and closing statements. So time limits will be strictly enforced. Our timers, we have timers right here. They will give the speakers warnings and signs and signals. And then if the candidate is still talking, I will have to raise my gavel. To keep things moving along, we also ask the candidates use one of the table mics and stand at their place at the table when delivering opening and closing statements. It does not make sense for them to get up and down every time they answer a question, so that will be sitting down. Only written questions are accepted. The questions must be succinct, and they can be addressed to one or more candidates. Any questions that can be addressed by all candidates will be posed to all the candidates. They'll all have an opportunity as appropriate. So please raise your hand to receive a card on which you can write your question. And then when you're done writing it, raise your hand and we will pick it up from you. They will take it outside, screen the questions to make sure there's no redundancy, and then bring them into me. Then I sort through the questions. Typically, we don't get through all the questions. I think we already have more questions than will get answered, but I don't want to discourage you from submitting your questions. We ask your cooperation, again, in not expressing support or dislike for any candidate or opposition. Refrain from making statements, and remember that you are here to learn. So 3 candidates are running to replace incumbent mayor Michael Dillon Brennan, who is not running for a 3rd term. The candidates are Philip Adkin, Chauncey Hutton, and current council member Michelle Weiss. Weiss would retain her seat on council if she does not win the mayoral post, as her term does not end until December 31st, 2027. So you're in office no matter what happens. This race is nonpartisan. The University Heights mayor is responsible for carrying out the laws of the city, the operations of city government, and overseeing city employees. The position is for a 4-year term with an annual salary of $50,000 as mayor and $50,000 as safety director. So those roles are inhabited by one person, the person in the mayor's position. So it's a total of $100,000 salary per year. So please remember to raise your hand to get a card for writing your questions, and then raise your hand to submit to a league volunteer. Make your questions short, clear, and legible. And I do want to just give you a heads up, in the voter guide that is coming out October 1st, there are questions that these candidates have already answered in writing in the voter guide. And that's not to say we shouldn't cover them tonight, because they're good questions, but I would ask you to keep in mind what the questions are, because you will have information coming in that voter guide on these subjects. So there are 4 questions the candidates were asked. How will you work to serve the diverse populations in our city fairly and equitably? What are your thoughts about the future of environmental practices and sustainable infrastructure in our community? Describe your view of the respective roles of the administration and city council in the city government, and how you think they should work together. Finally, do you think the University Heights administration and residents are well equipped and prepared for severe weather events? If not, what improvements do you think are needed? So those are the questions that are included and answered in the voter guide. So we will start now with opening statements from the candidates. They were randomly, the order that they speak in was randomly assigned by pulling a number out of a hat. So there's a 1, 2, 3 order, and it's the reverse order when they do their closing statements. So last shall be first, first shall be last. Candidates, you have 2 minutes for your opening statements. And we will begin with Mr. Atkin.
Thank you. My background is that I have a master's in urban planning. I've worked in that field with some large agencies and an engineering firm. I've been the consultant for municipalities. I've reviewed grants for agencies and so on. And I also had the great distinction of doing a study for the Seneca Nation of Indians when they were worried about how they would receive funding. And they, if you see casinos anywhere around the country on Indian reservations, I get a credit for that. I had a wonderful time going around and meeting people and going to block parties. And as I was traveling around, I realized that University Heights is very unusual in that other than a little section of Cedar and a small section of Warrensville, the whole city is single-family homes. And as I walked around and met people, I realized this is really an intense family city. And I got to meet lots of people. I got to see babies being jabbering with their mommies and mommies somehow communicating back with them. And it was a joy to see all of this in University Heights. And what I gleaned from the people is they wanted something more. They wanted to have more trails. They wanted to have more natural things. They wanted to have opportunities for neighbors to interact. And therefore, there's a lot of opportunities still going. And one of them is downtown. We might have a, I'm running out of time already. There's a downtown opportunity. There's other opportunities. I would like to get an architect on staff, a city architect, to help me and work on all these things. Thank you.
All right, Mrs. Weiss.
Service isn't about doing what's expected of us. Service is about going above and beyond expectations because we care about our community. University Heights is the community where we all have chosen to live, work, and raise our families. We would like to thank the League of Women Voters and the University Heights Library for hosting this event. I've lived in University Heights for 28 years. I'm a lifelong East Sider with both my parents growing up in Cleveland Heights and University Heights. My name is Michelle Weiss, and I am the current vice mayor of the city. I've devoted 15 years of service to the city. first as a League of Women Voters observer, then I was appointed to the Lay Finance Committee, and finally elected as your councilwoman and vice mayor. I'm running for mayor because the city needs and deserves a leader with knowledge and experience. Tonight, I want to earn your trust to be that leader. We don't have time for a transition period or on-the-job training. We need a leader who can hit the ground running on day one. With my experience and proven track record, I will start on day one. First, I have a strong record of collaborating with council members, directors, and professionals that serve the UH citizens. I have relationships across municipal boundaries as well as with representatives in Columbus to advocate for you, the residents. The UH taxpayers are looking for park improvements, street and sidewalk repairs, maintenance of public assets, such as the pool and our city facilities. I will take that action, making your concerns my priority. The only way government works is if we work together as one team dedicated to all of the residents. It's no secret that playing party politics does not fix streets, pick up trash, or enhance the quality of life for the UH residents. My party is University Heights. Lastly, Mayor of University Heights is not a part-time job that's measured by clocking in and out for a certain number of hours. I am never off the clock. My commitment is 24/7, and I regularly advocate for and assist our residents. In my current role, I'm answering calls, visiting homes, and writing legislation. Public service isn't about recognition and patting ourselves in the back. It's about working together to move the city forward every day because the residents trust us to get results. I want to give you the confidence in selecting me and make it clear that University Heights is my top priority. Thank you.
And Mr. Hutton?
Hello, neighbors. My name is Jay Chauncey Hutton. I want to start by thanking the League of Women Voters for organizing this event and for their continued commitment to helping and strengthening our democracy. Friends, it is a new day in University Heights, and it is time for a fresh start. I don't bring the grudges, the pettiness, or quite frankly, the meanness of the last 10 years. I am here to say no to the drama. I am here to build bridges, and I am here to do the hard work full time. We have real challenges here ahead of us, from fixing our roads, shaping the future of Bell Tower and JCU, updating zoning codes, and supporting our excellent police and fire departments. For 20 years, I have built coalitions across different industries, grounded in hard work, honesty, and the belief that working together is always better than fighting against each other. I am proud to be endorsed by City Council members Brian King and Chris Cooney. I am proud to be the Democratic candidate here tonight. And I am proud of the residents who invited me into their homes and shared their hopes and their dreams with me. Ruth Bader Ginsburg once said, "Fight for the things you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you." That's the spirit of unity I ask us to embrace for our neighbors, for our children, and for our future. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we will start with the questions. And some of these questions have been consolidated because they have come from more than one person. So it's not just one person asking the question in many cases. All right, and for the candidates, you can take turns however you want, okay? So there's no particular order to how you answer the questions. You sort it out among you. You can demonstrate how you collaborate, right? So first question is, can you please tell us your experience working in University Heights government, either city, council, or council committees or subcommittees? It's a softball question for you.
Mr.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I do better when I stand up. I was on the infrastructure committee. I was fortunate enough to get to know the mayor a little bit, and he appointed me to a couple of things. And I followed all of those things around. As I said, I have a background in urban planning, and I've been a builder for 40 years. So I monitored the infrastructure and was able to get a very good understanding of it. And besides that, I helped the mayor. There were some problems in the Jewish community with things that were going on, and I intervened, and I went back and forth to try and settle things and bring some relaxation of things. So I got to know everything, I got to know the whole lay of the land, so to speak, and I hope that I'll be able to perform that again here.
So I am currently the vice mayor. I've been appointed 3 times by my colleagues vice mayor, so that's the last 6 years, and I've been elected on city council. This is my 3rd term that I'm elected. I actually appointed Mr. Atkin for the infrastructure committee. We want architects and people in construction. We need realtors. We need people with that kind of experience on the different committees. I was on the finance committee before I ran for elected office, and obviously I am involved in all aspects of University Heights.
Yeah, I do not have firsthand experience with the City of University Heights government. However, my experience has been across about 20 years of building compliance with private sector industries, making sure that we are lining up with the mandates of the state, and making sure that we are following letters of the law, and building the teams that make sure that we drive value to end users. This is not, as I have said, come specifically within the city walls here. But I do have a long track record with working with governments and making sure that we are moving the ball forward.
Second question. This has to do with priorities of governing. What do you feel are the greatest challenges University Heights is facing? How do you plan to address these challenges? What do you feel are the city's greatest assets? And how do you plan to leverage or maximize these assets, attributes, all in 1 minute?
I can start off. That's okay. So first of all, our greatest asset are you, the residents. We are a bedroom community that is very unique on the east side. We actually all know our neighbors and really care about them. We live in close proximity, so we really have that relationship with each other. In terms of what some of my priorities are, is first of all, it's unification. We have unfortunately been divided over the last few years, and we need to get that back, and I have a lot of ideas to do that. One is to have a series of discoveries which really brings together the community by understanding everyone's ethnicities. We did this in the past. We have regionalism that we really need to think about. We have infrastructure, and we need to really look at strategic planning for revenue streams, and our zoning code comes into play for that.
I agree. Our great assets are our neighbors. I have seen a lot of hard work. I've seen a lot of commitment from the people here in our city. And I think that the biggest obstacles that we have to that is a sense of gridlock and a sense that the people who should be working together are not working together. I see a lot of this from the folks that I walk around with and I talk to here in the neighborhoods. A lot of us wonder why that does not trickle upwards. I think that making sure that we are able to bring the full force of our dollars to provide value is the great hurdle that we are looking at here in University Heights. And it is my job to make sure that we are building those bridges, to make sure that we as a team are meeting the goals and meeting the future in a way that benefits us all.
Assets, I agree. People of this city have given me lots of information, and if you listen very closely to people, they're the ones watching what's going on in the city. They're the ones observing, and they're the witness to it. And you have to take that into consideration. As far as difficult problems, when I walked around, what was one thing that everybody said? I can't believe what I'm paying in taxes. And they're the 4th highest, 4 times the national average, one of the highest in the city. And the mayor has to address these issues. Something has to be done. And there are ways to do it if you have the perseverance to go through. There are other things that need to be done, but I'm running out of time. I could talk for the rest of the afternoon. But we have an infrastructure. They're going to spend $30 million. and more, $40 million, when, in my view, it can be done by using the buildings that we have and adjusting them and cut that bill down to about a quarter of that.
This is a question about equity. Diversity, equity, and inclusion has been a major topic of conversation in 2025. As mayor of the city, do you have a responsibility to protect the diversity and inclusivity of the community? And do you believe local government has a role to play in DEI initiatives?
Well, I'll jump right on in here. I believe that we do, as a government, have a responsibility to uphold the dignity and the welfare of all of our residents. We are a very diverse place. We have a lot of religious diversity. We have a lot of ethnic diversity here in town. And it is important and incumbent upon all of us to make sure that we feel that our rights and that our perspectives are all being considered and are being valued accordingly. It is very important to me, as you've heard me say over and over again, to build a sense of unity, to build a sense of community, and to make sure that this togetherness that we feel permeates throughout the entire city.
I also agree. Diversity is really one of the largest strengths of University Heights. You can see that just on our city council. Every type of ethnicity, race, and religion, anything is on our city council, and it's been like that for many, many years. Every council that I've been on has had that diversity. We need to capitalize on that diversity. We need to work together, and it's definitely a hallmark of the city.
The mayor is the mayor of this entire city. The mayor has to respond to the needs of the city, and that's number one. When he sees that there's a problem, you have to intervene like I was willing to do for Mayor Brennan. A lot of times it's just misunderstanding. We have some very powerful groups in our city. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. I've had discussions with people in JSU and people in the secular community and people in the Orthodox community, and I'm telling you, we have great minds here, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate the image, the ideas that come from them. And I also like this, as I was describing before, the diversity of walking around neighborhoods and seeing how people are trying to live their lives in a proper way.
What will you do to protect trans residents?
I'm happy to jump in on this one. Trans folks are part of our community. We are a vibrant and multicultural community, as I have said before. It is important to allow the people who are trying to live their lives and trying to seek out a better life for themselves to explore that in a multitude of ways. I think that it is unfortunate that we have seen folks from the government talk about some of our most vulnerable citizens as though they are a burden on us. They are not. They are us. They are who we are. And I believe that it is important for our city to stand up for our trans friends as it is to stand up for anybody else in our city.
When I'm mayor for everyone. It doesn't matter, what your beliefs are and what you identify yourself as. And that has to be protected, period. Hard stop.
As I said before, I would be the mayor for everyone. As far as identifying a different sexual group and giving special criteria or consideration, if there's some necessity for that, that would be fine. But I don't like to single people out in that way. And everyone has the opportunity to live here and to live here richly, and it's a gift to be here and to have the surroundings, and I would support that in any way that would be within the range of the mayor.
Thank you. It feels as if our city is becoming divided. Do you think that is true? And if so, how would you work to bring our citizens together?
I can jump in on this. If anyone follows the city, city council is not divided. City council works together, we collaborate, we come to consensus, and under my leadership as vice mayor, I'm so happy to be part of that. If anything feels divisive, that is gone when I am mayor. As I mentioned before, a series of discoveries, which we've had many years ago, brings different ethnicities so everybody can learn about it. It's about a year-long program. We also have to make sure that we really support each other. I collaborate, I build relationships. I already have those relationships with all of the directors, with other people in different cities, other municipalities, and it's gone. That's not how I work. I build relationships and I collaborate together.
I think I mentioned that I've spent about 40 years as a builder, and there's one thing that is critical in that business, and that is you have to be direct with people. You have to be straight with them. They have to be honest with you. You have to be honest with them, and you build relationships based on that honesty and the directness. No fooling around, no fooling them, no playing games with them, no manipulating, none of that stuff. Otherwise, the project fails. So what I've learned in those years is the great gift. It's a great gift to be able to do that and to have people that you trust and continually work with them. And that's what I tried to do, and I think that's the only way I've been able to be successful.
I agree. It is a wonderful thing to have people around you that you can trust and that you believe will be serving you and working together to move the ball forward. I am glad that the vice mayor called out the folks in city who have been paying attention to city council. I have talked to a number of folks in town who have been paying attention to city council, and the feeling is not that they're all working together. The feeling is not that things are going smoothly. The feeling is that there is acrimony, that there is headbutting, that there's wailing and gnashing of teeth. This is something that does need to be addressed. This is time for a fresh start. It is time for new eyes. It is time for some people to come in who have not boiled themselves in this fight for so long that they don't see the other side of it. I am here to provide that option for you.
Is there anything your administration would do that differently from the current administration? What exactly would be different if that's what you're advocating for?
So I can start off. Number one is the first few weeks that I am mayor, there is going to be a retreat with the mayor, council and the mayor together, so we can all align our visions and move forward. We've had council retreats every other year, and the mayor was not present, which really made a chasm of alignment of vision. That's so important. The mayor and the council need to work together. The mayor needs to work with their directors. They need to have, everyone needs to feel that they are respected and their voices are heard, whether you're a director or whether you're on council or whether you're an employee also. So that is number one, and that is the aligned visions of everyone.
It is very important for the mayor and for the city council to work together. My first steps will be in building bridges. I have been speaking to lots of folks around the city, and when I speak to them about the division and the butting of heads and the gridlock that they see, they don't lay it at anyone's feet, but they do ask for someone to come in, to step up, and to make sure that that stops happening, because we are tired of it, and because we all know that we deserve better.
In my interaction with the city and observing council and the goings-on, there were a lot of problems, a lot of difficulties that have to be overcome. And I think one of the things I would do, I would insist on an open door. In other words, you can have a council meeting, but before you have a council meeting, you have to have interaction. You can't be just appearing. And there is something I learned long ago, a process called synectics, where people get together in a room, they have 7 people, and you go through a problem, and each one states their solution to the problem or things that are associated with it, and son of a gun, by the time you get through around this group a couple of times, you can force a solution. And I've seen it work marvelously. Well, in a certain way, the council has to do that too. Forget everything else, and concentrate on the problem and the issue and do it openly.
How would you balance the need for business development with homeowners' desire to keep residential areas residential?
So that is a very interesting question because it was just brought up at a meeting last week. We had a number of residents that abut Warrensville Center Road, because they heard about our zoning code review. For those who don't know what zoning is, it's really where and how you build new structures and whether they're residential or whether they're commercial. And resident input is so important. There needs to be a balance, and I think residents know that there has to be a give and take also. In order for University Heights to create new revenue streams, we need to make sure that we do get more commercial in, because you have to remember, 68% of our taxes go to the school board. We only get 11% of property taxes. And really, income tax is what drives the city's budget. So resident input is so important, and it needs to be a give and take, and when you are transparent, people appreciate that.
Bill, you want the next one on this one?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, bringing in businesses, making sure that we are increasing the revenue for the city is incredibly important. We have a problem of density here in our city, and we have very few places where we are actually able to really dig into improving the density problem that we have and providing greater streams of income for our city. I share the worry of the folks who live near Warrensville Center, who are worried about tiny lakes of asphalt appearing near their homes and ruining their backyards. That having been said, there are fresh and green ways to approach these problems and make sure that we are providing good space that is beneficial to the people who would live here and to the overall psyche of the folks who want a lovely place to continue living.
There's a basic principle in zoning, a basic principle that affects all of government, and that is the people who are living in the city are the owners of the city. They have rights. You can't impose things on them. You have to consider them. You have to think what you can do. As a builder, I can tell you there are always things you can come up with, ways to cite things, making sure that a certain entity is not too high, not too wide, not too deep, that parking is in a certain way, that there are buffers that can be installed. There's all kinds of things. This is a design problem, but it has to be done because the people who are living there have to put up with whatever's going on. I was on the street parallel to Warrensville, and they were talking to me, and we had a whole discussion about this. And it's very clear what they're dealing with now is a 2-story building that's a double, and what goes in there must be something that's not more than that from their point of view.
How would you ensure funds are used efficiently for road and sidewalk repair? That's a more manageable question than you, for road and sidewalk repair. How would you ensure efficiency?
Sure. So what's very interesting is City Council just authorized an assessment of all of our streets that has not been done in over 2 decades. And the assessment actually just came back today. I didn't have a chance to go through everything, but we now have a current report of what our needs are and how to go forward. Right now, we spend this year around $800,000 on our street program. We need to increase that. We knew that, but after the street report, at my first glance, we really do. The next piece is in terms of sidewalks. The Building and Housing Committee just had a meeting about sidewalk repair, and we all understand that the city needs to be a partner with the residents. Those city trees are city owned, they are not resident owned, and the city is either going to be partially paying for that or fully paying for that.
No, go ahead. I lost my train of thought.
We're having a nice off over here. I'm glad that the vice mayor has recently come to the agreement that we need to be spending more on roads. I believe that the plan for this is transparency. That we need a lot more consideration to the people who are living on these roads who feel like they don't have answers to the questions about when things are coming through to them. I also believe, as far as the sidewalks, that we have a lot more that we can do to be pooling resources, to be making sure that we are finding better rates for our residents, helping them in the process of making sure that these sidewalks are up to date, and finding ways to do cost diversion that will allow us to spread this cost out across multiple years instead of forcing people to take a sidewalk repair in the teeth. Thank you.
We don't have enough money in our coffers. Of all that money that's being collected, 6.4% is coming to the city. Unbelievable. They don't have, this streets department doesn't have money to do all the things they're supposed to do. Something's got to change. They've got to get more money. We've got to get our taxes down. We've got to get more coming into us. By the way, my last information was that it's not 68%, but it's more in the 70s, somewhere between 70 and 77, depending on certain factors. 6.4% goes to the city. That is not enough to run a city, and something has to be done about it. And you know, I was very grateful when they came out to my street and filled a pothole that I've been avoiding on the end of my driveway for several years. And they fixed the end of the street. That's terrific. But I know how difficult a time that the streets department is having. And they're trying to get it done. And you got to have money. You just have to have money.
What ideas do you have to make the city of University Heights more desirable for businesses and residents?
Yeah, so our zoning code is in update to make sure that we are finding new ways and new places to allow businesses to come in and provide additional income to our city. We are looking for ways to make sure that we can have increased places for folks to find their bedrooms. A lot of that comes down to zoning. A lot of that comes down to building planning. Again, like I said before, there are folks who are worried that we have tiny little seas of asphalt that are coming in where there could be green spaces. We have a city that has a very small town feel, and we need to be making sure that from the administration all the way through city government that we are ensuring that we maintain that sense of small town America that brings people here and makes them feel like this is the home they want to stay in.
Yeah, so this is a really exciting time for University Heights, and it is desirable right now, and it's only going to get better. We are a short drive to, or bike ride, to downtown, to University Circle, and that's really desirable. We're desirable for residents in the hospitals, for people that go to John Carroll and stay here because they love the community so much. In terms of Warrensville and Cedar Roads with the rezoning, we need to think about aging in place. Our homes do not have first floor living, and that's something that our residents desire and want. And I think that will be a big part in how we develop Cedar and Warrensville Road, and it's even going to get better. We have Bell Tower coming, 200 apartments are coming in, and we have condos which are being built by Superior School over there. This is an exciting time for University Heights, and it's already desired.
Well, first I have to thank Mayor Brennan. He's been working behind the scenes, and he's working on the Bell Tower and working on Warrensville, and he's got things in motion, and there should be some improvement left to the new mayor, and I appreciate that very much. There's a lot that has to be done to open things up. The zoning, yes, it has to be regulated properly, but it's more financial. Why would they move to University Heights than somewhere else? What are the financial considerations? What is the market? These are the considerations that are in business. Now, if we open up Warrensville in a certain way, and it's done in a proper way, and we've given them some direction and some opportunities, we could very well develop that. And if we include some of the things that the residents have stated to make it better, that would be even better.
What is your number one priority to fix or enhance services and/or infrastructure for the citizens and families of University Heights?
Okay, I'll go first. I was on the infrastructure committee, and I'm very disappointed at what came out. To spend $30 or $40 million on the things that are needed, I think is atrocious. We bought Yabe School, which is right alongside. It's a good school. It's a solid brick and mortar and concrete building that accommodated a school for years, and it's big enough that it could be a wonderful police department, and it would fit the vintage of the city hall without tearing anything down. They're coming in. They're going to tear it down, and they're going to put a new police department in front of the streets department over on Silsbee, where we have open land, when all we have to do is put a brick wall around it and double the size of the streets department. And with the empty police department in the past, we could make a decent fire department. All of this would cost far less, and I think it makes much more sense. I've even drawn it up for them.
So it's interesting that Mr. Atkin mentioned that, because nothing is finalized. We don't even have the final numbers, and the drawings are just a draft right now. So in terms of facilities, that's number one. But our residents care about our streets, they care about being safe, they care about their rubbish being picked up, and they care about their taxes. This is what the priorities that the residents need and want. And streets and sidewalks are already starting right now. It's long past due, unfortunately, but that we are making sure that I will make sure that that's how we're taking care of the residents.
I agree. Like many folks in town, we have been feeling as though it is long past due for these upgrades to be made. I am glad that we are starting to see that. I believe it is time for a fresh take on these things to make sure that we are not falling back into decay and decline. The cost of doing nothing is not zero. There is an ongoing decay cost when we see things start to crumble. That having been said, I agree that there are ways to reuse and reduce our overhead in terms of upcycling the facilities that we already have in town. But in the place where larger investments are unavoidable, it's important that we are securing low-interest bonds to do so, and that requires the will of the people. Like I said this whole time, community is very important to me, and I want to make sure that we are able to bring clarity to the folks in the city so that they know what they are asking for and they know what we are bringing to them.
If elected, will you resign from your current employment in order to work full-time as mayor and director of safety services, as every mayor has in the past?
Yes, absolutely. This is a no-brainer. There is nothing to be gained from having a part-time mayor and everything to lose. Part-time mayors are slower to respond. Part-time mayors miss opportunity. Part-time mayors reduce their presence in the city, and they increase the siloing of our leadership in government. This is something that the city has demanded of our leaders the entire time that we've had a mayor. Anyone who tells you that this job can be done part-time is not fit to do the job. Thank you.
There's no question. It's not a full-time job. It's a double full-time job. You hear all the problems that we've been discussing. The taxes is going to be a huge, huge thing to get into, and to resolve in a plausible way without harming anyone, but getting things right. And it's all the way through. If these infrastructure projects are going on, I can guarantee I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be overseeing in the background, making sure that everything is the way it should be, and that the city is going to come out right. And that takes a lot of thought beyond the end of the day. That's intense. I mean, I've never, in construction, never worked from 9 to 5. It's impossible. So with this job, there's just too much going on. And to do it right, you can't have other distractions, any distractions.
So as I said in my opening remarks, I will be mayor. That is my priority, 24/7. I will have some consulting responsibilities at my current position, but that is not going to overtake anything. The current mayor still has a law practice and is on many, many boards. I'm a mother. I founded a nonprofit. I'm the vice mayor, and I have a full-time job currently. My priority is being mayor, and I will be mayor 24/7.
What is your plan for increasing public safety, both in terms of the specifics for citizens and departments, and in terms of doing so within the city budget? What would the city do to replace the loss of income in their city budget? This is really two questions.
Could you repeat which one you want?
Yeah, I'll repeat what I just said. I think I'm going to make it a separate question. What is your plan for increasing public safety, both in terms of the specifics for citizens and departments, and in terms of doing so within the city budget?
Increasing.
Public safety.
Yeah, public safety. Well, anyone who has called 911 here can tell you that our public service members are second to none. We have excellent response times with our police and fire and paramedics, but public safety is more than just that. Safe bike lanes are important to decrease congestion. They improve public health. Libraries and after-school programs help keep crime rates and drug usage low. Resident assistance programs help the aged and infirm live in dignity in the houses where they already reside. It is important to us and as citizens, and to me as mayor, that our public services remain public. We start to see that privatization will result in profits over the people, and I believe that your neighbors are worth more than that, and that you all are worth more than that.
I agree. Our safety forces are second to none. They are excellent. Both chiefs are excellent. They run amazing departments. Their employees are excellent, and right now we are fully staffed. I will commit to make sure that they stay fully staffed. One thing that we could even approve upon is possibly regionalism, which when we share resources with other communities, we can just enhance those even more. Currently, we just signed on with Shaker Heights. We have a mental health professional that comes on calls with the police department sometimes and actually can help our policemen and our firemen to, if they have any issues that arise. We have so many opportunities out there to just enhance our excellent services already.
I agree with a lot of what was said, but I met a lot of, I met the heads of the police and the fire department and streets, and I've had a lot of interaction, and I've observed what they've done, and they're excellent. And ironically, the builders of this city were very thoughtful in it. They put the facilities right smack in the center of the city, so that from those facilities you can reach on an emergency basis anywhere in about 3 minutes, and it's phenomenal. We're very lucky to have that. And in general, the normal things that have to go on in the city, they're taken care of, and they're taken care of very, very well. Police are on the job, and they're doing their job in a UH way, a friendly way, a decent way, and it's much appreciated. It's a good group of people.
Do you believe it's important to build relationships with other elected officials, including our neighboring municipalities, school board, county rep and state representatives and senators. Why or why not? How do you plan to build those relationships?
So I can start. It's essential. It's not just important. I'm already colleagues with the different council people and mayors in other cities. Just probably 6 months ago, I went with my colleague John Rock to a council meeting with Richmond Heights, South Euclid, Cleveland Heights, on how we can all share resources. I know the other mayors of cities. I have relationships with them. I have relationships with our county council, our state reps. Eric Sonnenberg just had a town hall I attended a couple weeks ago. And you need to contact your senators. The mayors need to be in touch with your senators and your state reps to make sure that things get done. They can trickle down funding, needed funding to the cities. And just to, especially with other council members and other mayors, to, again, help regionalize and help each other in terms of financing things and ideas.
Yeah, I agree. It is very important to make sure that we are building and maintaining these relationships. Just as we are all neighbors here in this room, we are also all neighbors with the cities that are nearby us. Unfortunately, this past year, we kind of failed the neighborhood test by blocking some residents from Cleveland Heights from using our pools during their catastrophic meltdown at their pool. That's unfortunate. That hurts our ability to go back to them in the future and tell them that we are working together with them. But it is important for us to be building and maintaining those relationships. We have a lot of opportunities to work through the give and take with our neighbors to make sure that these benefits from regionalism are available to us. And a lot of that comes through maintaining the relationships with the mayors, with the school board, with senators, and with all of you.
We're right next door to 4 municipalities. I mean, you can't help it being next door to them and interacting with them. And that's critical. We have a lot, we're sharing a lot of things with Cleveland Heights. We need to be very close to them. Let's discuss things with them. Things need to be discussed. There's a lot of issues that have to be discussed. There's opportunities for more things. And I think that, you know, you can't run this government in a vacuum. It has to be connected to the rest. And we get so much from the other municipalities. It's something I'm missing, but I'll have to do it another time.
The Plain Dealer recently published a series of deeply researched articles on how our high property values are a direct result of decisions made over decades by the state government. Does our city government have ways to influence state legislators and the governor to reverse some of those poor decisions that are squeezing property owners?
So I know right now that the property taxes are being discussed in Columbus. That's why you have to build those relationships with your state reps, with your senators. That's the only way that University Heights is going to be heard. So that's something that, as mayor, I will make sure I keep those relationships and advocate for University Heights, because this law is changing. I don't know what it will be. No one knows what it will be right now, but University Heights needs a voice.
University Heights does need a voice. It needs a voice of unity. It needs a voice that reaches out to our lawmakers in Columbus and shows them that we are willing to work with them to make sure that we are cognizant both of the needs of the people in our state at large and that they are aware of the needs of the people here in our city. It is the responsibility of the mayor to be an advocate for each and every one of the people who live in the city. And I agree with Ms. Weiss that forming those relationships and keeping those relationships healthy and non-acrimonious is the key to making sure that our needs are being met and that the needs of all of our people here in town are being heard.
You know, of course, we have to be in touch with the state and monitor the state and be able to respond to the state. In fact, actually, I went to Columbus a couple of years back to talk to the Education Committee to try and determine how they could help us and what options we might have on certain issues. I mean, you've got to be in touch with them and you have to take advantage of it, and you can't be afraid to. You have to go down there and you have to speak directly, and they're going to give you the information. So it has to be done. That's part of the job. You're not alone here, as I said before in the other conversation. You're not alone. You can't, we're part of a state, and the state is a good state, and it's a responsive state. So I think that we can do well by just doing our job properly.
What, if any, economic development would you pursue for University Heights?
Again, a lot of this comes down to finding ways to make the new development that we have coming through in our city advantageous and desirable for not just businesses, but for the people who would be using them. We have seen some very good development in Shaker, especially in spaces like Van Aken, where you see not only green space for people to use, but also dense housing and also lots of places for good businesses to come in and grow. These are the kinds of things that we want to see more of in our city. It's something that I hear from people when I talk to them. They want to have a space that a business would like to come into where they can feel like someone will be able to walk up to them and purchase their wares from a brick and mortar spot. I know it's hard to be brick and mortar in this day and age, but there are ways to entice folks into town, and providing a way for our residents to get to them quickly and pleasantly is how we do that.
As I mentioned before, this is an exciting time for University Heights. And currently, we're at about 95% occupancy, which is amazing. So the commercial that we have now is occupied. We need to make sure that it stays that way. We need to make sure that our new zoning on Warrensville and on Cedar encompasses a mixed use, green space, homes, commercial. And walkability is important because we're a neighborhood. Again, we're 1.8 square miles, and people like to walk. They like to walk to the park. They want to walk to a coffee shop. We have that opportunity now to redevelop that. We only have about 3 spots in the entire city that we could do. Bell Tower, Warrensville Cedar, and there might be possibly, you know, another spot that is coming up on everybody's radar soon. But this is an opportunity, and it needs to be pursued.
I was going to add before something that, you know, I noticed that there's an opportunity to work with Cleveland Heights. There's a creek that starts over by Washington and Cedar. And it's a marvelous creek, and it's got ravines, and it goes towards Kane Park, and it's just sitting there. And it's boxed in. You have to really fight to go over there and go through the fences. But there's an opportunity there. There's an opportunity to bring something natural in. There's an opportunity for a bike trail. There is an opportunity if we work with that entity. And there are other opportunities in the city. We've talked about bike trails. How we do it, again, I would love to have an architect in the city, and we explore all these things and find out the best way to lay out a trail and get the trail going in a positive way and making it so that it's comfortable. Okay.
Housing. How will you work with the Housing and Rentals Department to hold landlords accountable for their renters and properties, especially on residential streets? Do you plan to create more transparency of landlord names and contact information?
Yes, absolutely. We need a whole lot more transparency on that. I am personally tired of seeing some guy in California who decides that he wants to make a quick buck off of Cleveland, try to scoop up some rental properties here, and then F off back to the West Coast. We need to make sure that we have ways that we are able to get in contact with the people who are the landlords, who are the owners of these properties, and make sure that they are keeping them up and keeping our housing stock looking good and in prime shape. The reason why our city is so beautiful is because we have folks here in town who pay attention to these things day in and day out. We do not need this money disappearing from our neighborhoods. We do not need this responsibility being shirked.
So 25% of our housing stock is our rentals. Many, many of them are out-of-state landlords. We need a housing department that has a complete list of those landlords and make them accountable. Because not every landlord is a bad landlord, but the ones that are ruin it for everybody else. So our housing department needs to up their game. We are working on this in our Building and Housing Department Committee right now, chaired by Councilwoman Wynn Weiser. And this is actually something we've been really toiling with over the last 6 months because we want to do it right. We've looked at other cities, not just in Ohio, in other places, and how can we make sure that we hold those out-of-state landlords and the in-state ones accountable? But we don't want to taint the ones that are doing a good job.
It's not an easy job. I know the housing inspectors, and in my business, I have to interact with them a lot, and we talk about it. And it's a personal job. I mean, a housing inspector has to visit the site. He has to understand what's going on properly and not overdo things, not underdo things, and be clear with landlords what exactly has to be done. And I think most of these issues are more of having staff and having staff that are clear on it and having directions that are clear. And it helps the landlord also. The landlord wants some clarity in it. So I think that that's more of an in-house kind of activity. And that's something that I would work on with the housing department to raise their vision.
What are your plans for increasing walkability, making roads bike-friendly, and improving road safety?
I love this question. Thank you. First of all, we already have a very walkable city. That is one of the things folks love about it, with the exception of Warrensville Center Road. Most people feel safe crossing most of our streets here. I think that improving bikeability is also very important. We have some projects that are in the works for that. We also need to make sure that when we have new businesses and new spaces going in, that we are providing places for people to house those bicycles and reach those places on bicycle easily. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have an opportunity with Warrensville Center Road right now because in 2027, that is going to be resurfaced and reconfigured. When it was done, if anybody remembers, probably 7 years ago, there were these bump outs that were put in. It's very windy. It's not conducive to our needs right now. So we have a really great opportunity, maybe a boulevard, combining it with our zoning code strategic plan. All of that can make Warrensville more bikeable and more walkable. In terms of green space, we have pocket parks. I don't know if any of you have one by you, and we have a rain garden as well. There are a few possibilities still left for that. We have to also make sure our parks are kept up. There are, between Purvis and Walter Stinson, there are improvements that are in the works right now, and we have to make sure that those are priorities.
I love this topic. I spent 2 years in Eugene, Oregon, getting my graduate degree in planning, and I parked my car. I didn't even drive the car. They had such an advanced system of trails and bikeways that it was the best. I was in the best shape of my life, and it's not an easy thing to take a city like this with its streets all in place, but there are options. There's ways of breaking out a bike path so that one direction is on one street, one direction is on another street, finding the most appropriate way to get somewhere, that it's where it's comfortable, where it's scenic, where it's proper. Some streets are just who wants to be on them. I mean, they recently did a green road between Cedar and Mayfield, and I've yet to see anyone biking on that street, although somebody told me they did. It has to be sensible.
What is your plan for paying for new city facilities?
So I can start off. So there's a budget that council approved. The maximum that we have to spend is $30 million, and that is something without raising taxes. We have the opportunity to make that lower. We have $10 million in the bank right now. Obviously, some of that has to be kept for reserves, but that's almost about one building after that. I also think that this needs to be done in phases. It can't be done all at once. We have an opportunity with Bell Tower coming online to possibly having our city hall there. Every time I go to a different city, I kind of look at where their city hall, where their facilities are, and many of them are actually in commercial buildings, their city halls. But in terms of financing that, there is no taxes that would be needed to be increased. And that is really important to our residents because our police and fire and service need facilities. Their morale is down, and they are being kind of poached by other cities. Thanks.
So I think that, as I was saying before, having an architect, city architect, and being in-house with these people and talking to them and understanding what the priorities are, and I kind of have an idea already, but seeing what those priorities are and attacking those priorities and making improvements. The city did a very good thing. The city hall, the whole city complex is right in the center. That makes it easier for every one of those services to do their job. I don't want to change that. And I don't like the messing around with the history of it. I've seen what they did with Cleveland Heights, and I'm not impressed. I think that we have the opportunity to do something well, and it's going to cost, if it's done properly, it's not going to cost $30 million. I don't know why she feels that we're not going to have to pay for it, but I know that people are going to have to pay for that $30 million. And if we've got $10 million as an extra, well, they'll spend 30 and 10. It'll be gone. That's the way it works.
Yeah, I agree with Phil. If you think that there is a way that we are just going to spend $30 million and the tax people aren't going to pay for it, I've got a lovely bridge to sell you in Florida. Quite simply, the people are going to have to eat the cost of this in one way or another, and by trying to get an unbonded loan without the will of the people behind it, we're going to eat it a little bit harder. There is no way to do this that does not involve the people of this city coming together, saying that this is what they want, and putting their backs into it. I hope that we can get there, but this is something that we all as a city have to say that we value and that we are all bought in on.
What is your plan for residents if our pool at Purvis Park has a catastrophic breakdown such as Cleveland Heights Cumberland Pool did at the beginning of the summer?
So the city is doing an assessment on our pool right now. We have a leak. We know we have a leak, and we have done extensive maintenance this year, and next year there'll be additional maintenance. One thing that the school board promised Cleveland Heights and University Heights residents when they built their high school was that the residents could use their pool, the high school pool, and that has not come to fruition. I have been in meetings. The school board is not allowing residents to use their pool. That is our backup. That is Cleveland Heights' backup also, because that meeting I was in with the school board and with the council people of Cleveland Heights. So that, everyone wants it. We want winter swimming. So if we need to replace our pool, we hope that the Heights High pool will be accessible not just to Cleveland Heights when they have to rebuild their pool, but to University Heights when we rebuild ours.
Yeah, the short answer to what happens if our pool breaks is we have to rely on our neighbors in other cities. Regionalism in recreation is something that there is a lot of room for. It's a place where cities can join together and make sure that they are working together. I have talked to residents who have children in the high school who say that it is bizarre to them that their kids can't come and play at our pool with their children. Like I said before, unfortunately, we failed the neighbor test when Cleveland Heights came knocking to us and asked us for our help. We have to make sure that we are rebuilding these bridges, that we are building this sense of community, not just in our city, but also in the cities that neighbor us, not just so that we can come to our neighbors when there is a problem, but because it's the right thing to do.
Well, the first thing is that I would really need to understand deeply what the problem is. To jump and say different things, I wouldn't want to do that. But if, in fact, there is a serious problem, then we have to decide what the best direction to go is. Is it to stay over there? Is it to move it to Stinson Park? Is there some other option? But there's also we're close to the Beechwood pool. There's other places to borrow a pool if we have to, or make an agreement with another municipality if it comes down to it. But I think the main thing is to get ahead of this game, find out what the problems are, get the problems taken care of, and go forward. That's part of what you have to do to run a city. You have to keep on top of these things.
How do you plan to repair the city's image after some of the negative publicity occurring in the last few years?
So as I said before, all of city council gets along. All the previous city councils get along. I have relationships with all of the directors. I have relationships with other cities. To me, once there's a new mayor, that is repairing the image of University Heights. There will be no divisiveness anymore.
And as I have said before, talking to the people of this city, nobody believes that. We have a city that is butting heads. We have folks that are not getting along, and all of us feel it. It's hard because we have these streets where people are getting along with their neighbors, where people are embracing each other, and then we don't see that trickle up. That's difficult. From a repair standpoint, we need to be making sure that we are building these bridges. That isn't something that just you walk in the door day one and everything gets fixed. That is something that takes time. Goodwill and the rebuilding of trust is something that takes a lot of effort. It takes showing up for everybody who's there, who has your back, and who doesn't have your back. Being the mayor is about making sure that all of the people are heard, and building that trust is part of that process.
It's a very important question, and it's a big responsibility of the mayor. And the mayor has to take actions that are universally acceptable. Now, that's not so easy. There needs to be a lot of communication. A lot of things that I was involved with that were problems were miscommunications. People didn't understand. People didn't understand the dynamics of the codes or the laws or any of the, there's some other aspect of governance. You have to get through that. And most of the time, people are reasonable. That's what I found. And if you get through all the craziness, I'll tell you, when I've gone through the neighborhoods recently and talked to people who are totally different religions and backgrounds, I've had some amazingly wonderful discussions and finding things in common. And there is so much in common here. We're not so diverse. We may have, well, it's a big topic.
How important to you is our shade tree canopy? And how will you address its decline over the recent past?
I didn't, say that again?
How important to you is our shade tree?
Oh, our shade tree.
Shade tree canopy, and how will you address its decline over the recent past?
So we are a city of beautiful trees. We have an arborist as one of our employees. And we have zones. So every 3 years, our shade trees on our tree lawns are inspected. And if there is any issue during those 3 years, when the arborist does not come to your section, you can call him. I've called him personally. He comes out the next day. He's excellent. And any new tree that is getting planted, the roots are going straight down. So they're not going out into the sidewalks like we've had those issues. He's also making sure that because of infestation of different insects throughout the many years, that we have resistant trees to that as well. So we are taking care of our trees. We have assessments on the books for that as well. So we have the money to be able to do that.
You know, again, from my tours in the neighborhood, there are some just beautiful streets and 100-year-old trees, and it's just delightful. And that stuff has to be protected as best we can. You can't save everything, but there are common sense things that go on and that you have to watch out for. People covering up roots, people doing things. But you know, if you have a good arborist, and the arborist is moving around, keeping his eyes open, he can head off some of these things which can be kind of catastrophic. But you know, you drive down some of our streets, even drive down Silsby, it's unbelievable, the shade and the canopy, and that's a great gift. It's a great gift. I wish there were more on my street.
We are indeed a city of beautiful trees. Our tree canopy is incredible. It's very important to me. It's part of what drew me to living here. I'm a liberal tree hugger from all the way back, and I am so proud that we are a tree city. The city where I grew up was known as the Elm City, and was unfortunately devastated by the elm blight that came around, too long ago at this point. I've seen what happens when the trees start to disappear. It takes a toll on the city, and I see the joy that people feel when they drive down our streets and they see these beautiful 100-year-old trees and these new trees coming in. It is a deep source of pride to me that we live in a city with this many beautiful trees, and I want to make sure that we are staying on top of that. The arborist is a great way to make sure that they are staying healthy and happy, because healthy and happy trees mean healthy and happy residents.
What is your position regarding revisions to the present weeds ordinances to encourage resident pollinator gardens and similar projects? Repeat it.
Yeah.
What are the steps you will take? I'm sorry, what is your position regarding revisions to the present weeds ordinances to encourage resident pollinator gardens and similar projects?
So currently, there's a mayor's committee on sustainability, which when I mayor will be rolled into one of the other committees, so it is public. But what they have come up with is a trees and weeds ordinance, two separate things. They are in our committee right now. They're in a joint building and service committee. We have had a lot of great public comment. I believe that those committee heads are going to actually have a public meeting for more resident input. The tree ordinance has gone through a thorough review. We're waiting for the public hearing to be able to finalize that. And the weeds ordinance is right now in the middle of discussion. So there have been excellent people that have come in to speak about it. And I know that the committee has even more that are coming. But this resident input is great because we want to do, city council wants to do what the residents want. This is not about me, this is about you. So we'll see how that comes out, but right now it's on a really great track.
I am a big fan of native pollinators. I'm a big fan of encouraging these kinds of plants to be grown up at the front of our properties, in our tree lawns, in a lot of different places. I have the benefit of living across from Councilman King's pollinator garden, and I also have the joy of seeing children stop and look at the monarch butterflies that have been coming back into our town and have been delighting our residents. Unfortunately, this process has been a slow one. The weeds ordinance has been in public review or in review stage for the better part of a year, and that is quite frankly taking way too long. It's unfortunate that we sometimes see foot dragging disguised as intentionality, but this is the space that we live in. People want to have these gardens. They want to see this resurgence of natural light and life here in our city, and they want to see more of it.
Just about one of my favorite things to spend my time on is going out to the garden. And what great peace it gives after everything else is going on. And what I found is that I check what's there. I don't know if anyone knows, but there's a Google app where you can take a picture of a flower and a plant, and you can find it exactly what it is. And it's unbelievable what grows in my yard. And I don't see that University Heights is in a critical situation for plant growth. I can tell you what goes on in my yard, and most of it is actually that I just appears is good stuff, and it's natural. So I guess that's kind of my comment. I would get into this more deeply if I was mayor.
What are the steps you will take to implement the University Heights Climate Action Plan?
Well, I'll start on this one. I build in this neighborhood, and one of the things that I do is I built with what's called insulated concrete forms. I built a synagogue at Green Road on East Carroll. It's 15,000 square feet, and it's got a 40-foot tall sanctuary, and the worst bill in the wintertime for gas is $200. It's about the most sustainable building in all of Ohio. And in fact, about 4 years ago when the temperature went down below zero in the wintertime, their boiler went out. For a few days, it took a few days, and the building never got below 50 degrees. So there are ways that are practical, that are not so consequential to do, just doing good building techniques. And we can encourage that, and I think we can explain it to people, and they can do a lot of things on their own.
I agree with Phil on this one. There are a lot of really great ways that we can lean into clean and green processes to make sure that we are providing energy reduction benefits to our residents and making sure that the steps that we are taking to be clean, to be green, are followed. As mayor, the Climate Action Plan will have my full backing. It is important to me that we are doing our part to make sure that we are decreasing our impact on the environment in negative ways, and to make sure that we are providing benefits to our residents that not only save them money, but also provide them with cleaner air and cleaner drinking water.
So we're already a Power Clean Future Ohio City, which is great. We've increased recycling with our new recycling program. We have an opportunity with facilities to be more climate friendly, and we have an opportunity through our roads program as well. Many people have asked about roundabouts. So roundabouts don't just slow traffic down, but it actually lowers emissions as well. So that's something that I think is very important to the city, and there are many other programs that I would support.
What is your plan for funding, this is a tough one, funding city services if some of the property tax relief measures that are being considered are enacted? What services would be the first to cut? And which would you work hardest to preserve?
Yeah, this is a tough one indeed. Having the property taxes come out of our budget is a big deal. That's almost 20% of our city budget for the year. Obviously, the places where we can't cut corners are on the facilities and the services that are most used and most needed by our residents: police, fire, paramedicine. Beyond that, when we have to start looking at cuts, we have to start looking at things that are already that are optional, that we can live without. These are going to be things that people don't want to lose, but our values are going to dictate what we spend our money on. And unfortunately, if Columbus does decide to go through with this plan, that is going to mean a squeeze on some of the things that we love about our city. And it's going to mean we're going to need to find and get creative about new ways to find funding to pay for the things that matter to us.
Yeah, so property taxes are 11% here. And we will feel a cut if Columbus or the federal government does reduce our property taxes. However, we are blessed with an amazing lay finance team, lay finance committee, as well as a city council that really has experience with budgeting. And me personally as an accountant, I can tell you that there might have to be some tough choices made, but I would make sure that this is inclusive with the finance committee and city council, as well as really trying to find these new revenue streams that we spoke about. And we have an opportunity again with Bell Tower, with the rezoning, to be able to do that.
University Heights collects around, should I say, $40 million in taxes, about $40 million. As I said, 6.4% is all that comes to us. So it's going to be a very interesting thing to see what happens and how it pans out. If they take away property taxes, well, the city itself is only going to lose 6.4%, but the school board is going to lose 77%, $28 million. It's between $28 million and $30 million that comes from University Heights. Cuyahoga County Libraries, and we also we pay for not only that, but we pay for the University Heights, Cleveland Heights Library. It's going to be quite I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of plans before they just take away property taxes. So we'll have to see.
I can hardly believe this, but we got through all the questions right on time. I hadn't appreciated how fast things would go with just 3 candidates. So good job, everyone. So we have closing statements now. Again, these are 2 minutes per candidate. And we go in reverse order of how we started, with Mr. Hutton going first, then Mrs. Weiss, and then Mr. Atkin.
Thank you, University Heights, for your time and attention this evening. This election is about who we trust to do the hard work while reflecting the values of our city. I am here to do that hard work. University Heights has given my family very much. It has given us caring neighbors, safe streets to raise a child, parks, playgrounds, composting, and yes, even world-class bagels. I am here to give back. It's time to put the drama and the bickering to bed. It's time we roll up our sleeves, come together as one, and move past the status quo with full hearts and a full-time mayor. My name is Jay Chauncey Hutton. I'm ready to do that work with you. Thank you.
The people of University Heights are asking for results. As your mayor, I will put in the work to deliver results, just like I always have. I will run an efficient and accessible city hall. No more I can't get through to anyone. No more legislation that affects the residents directly without resident input. Just recently, I met with council members from other cities to discuss collaboration. All our sister cities are looking for a path forward and are expected to do more with less. No cities surrounding us have the resources for all of their needs. My 25+ years working in finance tells me that we need to rethink our approach and manage more efficiently in the current resource-constrained environment. Now is the time to think regionally and expand the existing services approach that we currently have in place, such as shared dispatch services, jails, and SWAT. Now is the time for innovative thinking, and together we can lead a change forward. Before I close, there's one issue that I really want to address. For many in our city, the ability to confidently age in place is a very real concern. Currently, we do not have many homes that are designed to meet the needs of this population. We're undertaking that zoning code as we have discussed here. Our seniors are a valuable resource, and I'm committed to working with the residents and advocates to capture their concerns as we work together for a successful outcome. During my 10 years plus of public service, I've sponsored legislation such as improvements to the city bidding process for women and underrepresented minorities, establishing a community reinvestment area that allows a 15-year tax abatement on homes, and developed a community investment corporation to meet residents' needs. This is just a summary of my efforts. There are countless other pieces of legislation addressing safety and other top resident concerns. We must work together as a community to improve revenue streams and enhance our own strategic planning. We must focus our efforts on uniting the city through thoughtful community events that embrace the diversity and shared values. In the most recent election in 2023, the voters of all 9 UH precincts re-elected me to council. For 10 years, you have trusted me with this responsibility, and I've worked hard to deliver the results for this community. Thank you again, and vote for Michelle Weiss.
Mr. Atkin?
This is really quite an amazing city. I've had a lot of fun. I've been here 33 years, and the people here are receptive. When I run around, I had deep religious discussions with people in the Jesu community, although I'm an Orthodox Jew. And the commonalities are stunning. This view of life is stunning. Having family as a priority is stunning all over the city. It's very unusual, very beautiful, beautiful thing. But when I walk around and people tell me that they don't know what to do next, they can't pay their bills because the property taxes are so incredibly large. If you were an elderly person and you lived here for 30 or 40 years and you've taken your house and you've taken care of it and it's a beautiful house and it's now assessed at some enormous figure, it's huge. It's huge. And they can't, they deserve, these people deserve our attention. They deserve to be served. They deserve to have a problems released and relieved. We don't want to lose people. We don't want to have everybody leave the city. It's a great city. So we have to concentrate on that, and we have to form a committee to work on it, and we have to pursue it, and that's what we have to do. But there's much more to the mayor job here. All the beautiful things that we've been talking about, all the pathways, all the parks, all making the city more enjoyable. They're not expensive things, really, for the most part. They're things that we can do, and if we bring in people who, as I said before, are witnessing what's going on in their neighborhood and telling us this,